introductions.
Are you talking about climbing or normal?
I was hoping forward. I took my shoes off. Oh!
So the athletes are allowed to touch the star hole, and they're looking for all the different intricacies of the climb, so that they can hill and unlock any specific sequencing later.
Oh, definitely not. Yeah, let's go keep longer than that. What up?
We're going to hear that beeping over the first beep is just going to be for the first minute remaining.
You been here all weekend or just for this event?
That guy jumped that line. Brian freaking out. How have you guys been? Pretty good? Yeah.
His outside style is new to you. You're going to notice that there's pieces of tape near the start holds. There are 4 pieces of tape where you keep your 4 limbs so that you have your hands and your feet. You're touching the little pieces of tape.
Well, he did it last year. I don't think he's like that. No. Romy is doubting your height. How tall are you?
We have about 10 minutes before we start the competition. He is up to go down to
Thinks you're,
Santa Fe.
thinks you're hurt his height.
We got a lot of beer, some ciders, deliciousness down there. They say hi, get beer.
evening and welcome to the North American Cup Series Bouldering Finals. My name is Molly Rennie and I'm being joined by Favia Dubik.
And we're commentating for Bouldering Finals tonight. We had a very, very exciting semifinal round here at Stone Age in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
We have 6 strong men and strong women coming out to do the finals tonight. Among that list is Chloe Cascoy, Caitlin Bone, Madison Fisher, Megan Lynch, Alex Johnson, and Melina Costanza. Out for the women, you can see Melina Costanza.
Those are the qualifying results, and she came in first with 6 tops. Madison Fisher was second with 5 tops, and there was quite a few climbers there who tied with 4 tops.
For the men coming into finals, we have Simon Hibbler, Xander Waller, Joe Goodacre, Zach Richardson, Ross Fulkerson, and Zach Gala.
Zach Gala in semis flashed everything. It was absolutely beautiful to watch.
Yeah, so we decided Zach and Melina are both the king and queen of semis, so we're hoping they can maintain their reign all the way through, and maybe they'll find some challenges for this next round.
And because they came in first in semis, they will be coming out last in finals.
So right now, the athletes are previewing the routes. They're working together. You can see that they're actually talking to one another and deciding what the best beta is for them as they move into their routes. While height may play a factor, a lot of times men and women will be following along on the same beta and the same plans, and teammates will work together to determine the best course of action.
That was one of the most exciting parts of qualifiers, because the athletes were able to look at other athletes try the problem, and they would say, oh, you gotta drop me there, or you have to toe hug. It wasn't quite like a competition where everyone was just trying to keep their beta a secret. Everyone was helping each other out.
This really develops a sense of community amongst the climbers, and you can see they're all very friendly. Very few of them actually climb at the same gym or on the same teams, and so as a result they have developed really strong friendships with one another. They see each other at all kinds of competitions. They've been competing on the Youth World Cup scene or the youth scene, and now they're together on the adult scene for many, and moving into a future that looks pretty bright for a lot of them.
Super bright. We might need to put on some sunglasses.
Oh. So we do have a lot of young people out tonight. Caitlin Bone is our youngest qualifier, and she's Albuquerque's own as well, so we're pretty proud of her. She is 15 years old. The rules are that they have to turn 16 in this year, and I happen to know that Katie is a Scorpio, born in November. They're bringing the athletes out now.
And out on our screen, we have Chloe Cascoy. Oh, and here's Katie.
Katie Bone.
This is Madison Fisher. And that is Megan Lynch. Alex Johnson.
Alex Johnson repping the over 30s crowd, the only one to do so.
And the queen of semis, Melina Costanza. You'll see they all have masks on, part of COVID precautions.
Yeah, so the climbers actually have to climb in their masks, they have to warm up in their masks, and they make it work.
And out for men, we have Simon Hibbler. And this is Xander Waller. Joe Goodacre.
Oh, it is a little bright for Joe Goodacre. He's got his shades on.
Zach Richardson. Ross Fulkerson. And the king of semis and prelims, Zach Gala. And those are your men for tonight.
We started with 62 men at the beginning of this and have whittled it down to 6 for finals. For the women, we started with 47 women in qualifiers, breaking it all the way down to the last 6 women for finals. So this is the cream of the crop. Everybody that's competing here wants their spot on the podium. This is the North American Championships, not to be confused with the previous National Cup Series. And so now what we're looking at is who is the king of North America? Who is the queen of North America? And these people have come from all over. We have Canadians represented. In speed and lead, we had some people from Ecuador, from Canada, and from Mexico.
And it's been a very grueling weekend. It started off with lead prelims, and they had lead finals, and then speed, and now they're on to boulder. So some of these athletes are on day 5 of climbing. I don't know how they're doing it.
Yeah, I know. I'm feeling the fatigue of setting in for us after having spoken for 5 days. So bear with us.
Yeah, Molly and I are quite tired just from watching, so I don't know how they feel.
So the format tonight is the same that it has been as far as the semifinals, in that the scoring is such that there's pieces of tape on the wall in which the climbers have to establish 4 points, so 2 hands, 2 feet, and then they move into eventually a zone hold. Any holds that they touch between zone and start don't matter towards their score. So if they don't secure a zone, they may as well have just sat on the mat and just save their energy. From there, anything they do between the zone and the top doesn't matter, so it's tops that count. If 2 climbers have the same score, say they both got to the zone or they both got to the top, it counts back to the number of tries. And that actually came through as an important component in scoring earlier today.
And for tops, you must have 2 hands on the finish hold and show control. So if you just hit it and fly off, no top.
And similarly, with the 4 points of contact to start, if athletes do not put all 4 points onto the associated places, they will not receive a start. We'll see women's 1 now. This climb looks very powerful, very exhausting, and I think we're in for a fun fight for the women's climb.
And we have Simon Hibbler on men's 1.
This is Chloe Cosquay on women's 1. Chloe is no stranger to topping a podium, so I think she's somebody we can look for today to do quite well.
And Simon doing well here on the first problem.
He made it to the zone, but I don't believe he controlled that zone. Meanwhile, Chloe is securing that zone hold, the pink tape. And that hold is really tricky because it's dual textured. The center has the texture on it, and the outer parts are slippery.
But she made that match look easy.
She really did. Ooh. And a wild fall, something these climbers are quite accustomed to.
Simon is a really strong boulderer. I know that he takes down V14s in just a couple of sessions. So that can kind of tell you how hard these problems are, because they're not climbing it because they aren't strong.
Yeah, this is really and truly the top of the climbing game right now, with the exception of a couple of Olympians that are taking a break before they come out. But really and truly, this is the top of the crop right now. So you can see all 4 pieces of tape going to the start of women's 1. So Chloe has to show that she can put all 4 points, there she is, before she moves on to the next hold. The women on that climb can actually climb feet first. She's choosing to go hand first.
Simon looking to go to that zone hold.
And these dual texture holds are so difficult. I love how much they're shining right now. You can really see the slippery part and the textured part. So anything that's shiny is not usable. Chloe powering up on that heel. She'll look probably for that match again. It's a very difficult match to make. There's not much room for your fingers before she powers out right. Wow.
She makes that move. It's incredibly hard.
That's a super powerful move. And then to hold it creates a lot of body tension. It's pretty exhausting. Keep in mind, this is the first problem of finals, but all of these finalists have been climbing. They climbed for 4 hours last night to secure their spots into into semifinals, and then they climbed today as well, just a few hours ago.
And Chloe was in lead this week, so she took 5th place. So she was all the way into lead final.
Wow. Well, Simon's got less than 1 minute left. Enough time maybe for 2 goes.
Oh, a foot slip, but he tried to save it.
Yeah, a lot of energy expended on that effort, though. With 30 seconds left by the time he steps up, will he try it again? It looks like Chloe may be stepping off the mats and taking her rest.
So the climbers have to stop when the time is up. They can't continue climbing, even if they're on the wall when the buzzer goes.
15 seconds is enough time at least to secure zone hold here.
He just can't quite figure out which hand he wants to go with. No hands. And now our next climbers will be coming out.
So the format is that every climber will come out and do their number 1 problem, and then we'll move on to the second problem, and so on through all of the final problems today. Here's Katie Bone, Albuquerque local, 15 years old. She's an American Ninja Warrior junior champion, or competitor, and she's done really well on the world circuit as well for Ninja Warrior.
Yeah, she placed 3rd in Worlds this year against all the top-ranking adults. So quite impressive.
Yeah, she doesn't compete as a kid. She competes as a pro in the Ninja Warrior League.
And we have Xander Waller here on men's 1. Looks like the judges called him off.
Likely he did not show control on all of the taped spots.
Katie and I actually go to the same ninja gym, and she's always given me tips on how to be more powerful. So it's been nice to see her develop her skill throughout the years there and teach others. And Xander doing quite well here.
Yeah, he was able to find a heel hook, which allowed him to secure that hold. And now over to the zone hold. Both climbers have the zone hold controlled, so they'll get points for that. Xander looking for control, 2 hands on the top, that's it.
He does it. He's very happy with that. And Katie just missing the jib.
She has 2 minutes and 40 seconds left. That is enough time for her to take a little breather and then give it 1 more solid go. For her to give it more than 1, maybe 2 more goes would be maybe unwise, as this is a pretty intense climb. It's very steep. You can see she's breathing pretty hard through the masks, and she's gonna give it another go.
She's young.
Oh, to be 15.
She doesn't need as much rest as we do. We tried these problems earlier, and I am still pumped a couple hours later.
Katie took 3rd in speed on Friday, and she was actually poised to do really well in lead as well. She qualified in lead, tied for 1st, and then in semis had a low, unfortunate foot slip that was just one of those things that was completely unexpected, and I think she probably would have placed well if that hadn't happened. So she's coming out as like this all-around force. I'm excited to see Katie's career progress.
She's opting for similar beta as Chloe took.
That tenuous match on the dual textured holds, not easy, with a little foot cam with her left. And she maintained that foot cam, which was a crazy amount of body attention for her.
Each move looking a little desperate there. And a foot slip. Oh. That problem is absolutely exhausting.
Yeah, and even though she's making it further than Chloe, her score is actually not going to be all that different, depending on how many attempts it took for Chloe, which we can look at in just a moment. But she's made it to the zone the same as Chloe, and any hold she's made afterward actually doesn't matter.
until she hits the top.
That's right. The top matters.
Come on, Katie, come on.
Those holds she's just hanging off of are really heinous. So it's quite impressive that she was able to hang on them for so long.
And it actually looks like Katie and Chloe had the same number of attempts to the zone. So they actually are sharing that first place spot for the moment, but much more climbing to come and many more climbers to come out.
Coming up, we've got Madison Fisher and Joe Goodacre.
We have Madison Fisher on women's 1 and Joe Goodacre on men's 2. So Joe actually took second in speed on Friday.
Yeah, he's an accomplished speed climber. He's competed in World Cup speed competitions, but he certainly trains bouldering as well. And as it shows, he's a strong boulder as he's managed to come out in 4th place coming into finals. Madison came to this competition just for the bouldering. That was her only objective. So she has a little more energy maybe than some of her fellow competitors that have come for more of the climbing competition.
And in qualifiers, she actually managed to do 5 tops, just behind Melina's 6.
Wow. Let's see if Joe finds that same heel hook. He is, it's just a different orientation. So that volume lends itself to some really interesting body positioning. I'm not sure if the right under heel hook. Is that a term, under heel?
Underhill, now it is.
Okay, well,
You heard it here first.
I'm not sure if that was working for him. We'll see if he switches to the left heel. So Madison Fisher is one of the many students that were seniors the school year of the 2020 senior year, and she had her year cut short like many of the seniors. But maybe that was a good opportunity for her to take that time to really focus on training and get stronger and come out with all of this power.
Yeah, she's very talented. She won youth nationals just after 2 years of climbing.
Yeah, that's a lot of natural talent.
She's choosing to do a toe cam in there too. A cam is where you squeeze your foot or your hand in between 2 holds, and just the pressure of those holds keeps you in. With some work from the athlete too.
Looks like he's considering swapping his feet around. Just trying to decide what the best positioning is here with his body. A really tricky position to be in there. But he comes back down and takes an opportunity for a little rest. That, again, shows his seasoned abilities and skills for him to be able to take that rest. Oh, and a skip altogether, but maybe not the best beta. We'll see. The slopers are not that positive, and the wall is a little steep there.
And you can see him brushing the holes to get any excess chalk off, so to increase the friction. So it says here that Madison started a popcorn company.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I wonder what type of popcorn.
She specializes maybe in all types. We'll have to ask. And we'll see if she can create this body tension that she missed earlier with that cam. She wasn't able to maintain it through this motion, which is going to be critical. Well, just not quite finding her place of comfort on that.
Less than 30 seconds left now.
Joe's setting up for the dynamic movement, and it almost worked.
Yeah, but he did not control that zone well enough, I don't think, to receive points.
No. So he and Simon Hibbler will have the same score of no zones, no tops achieved yet, while Xander has the top in 2 attempts.
So now out we have Megan Lynch and Zach Richardson.
Megan Lynch has a degree in exercise science. I wonder how that plays into her training and how she thinks about and approaches her training for climbing.
Yeah, I wonder if her college has rock climbing courses. She can really specialize.
Well, she did win the Worlds for University Bouldering Championships, so I think she certainly was focused on climbing in college.
She's actually also made semifinals in World Cup bouldering comps too. So she's good on all fronts.
And Zach Richardson just working to find his balance and discover the path of least resistance on men's one.
He's been battling a painful hand injury for a few years now, so I wonder how that's affecting him today. And if you notice on his chalk bag, there's a Canadian flag there. He is from Canada. He's representing Canada today. It's interesting to me that none of the ladies so far have tried our toe first beta.
Yeah, I expected that to actually be the way people chose to go, because the other way, it looks so powerful to me to go up hand first. But, these women are very well familiar with power, and maybe actually it would require less energy from them by just going up hand first. Going feet first is pretty core intensive.
You can see that Zach brought out multiple pairs of shoes, at least another one. Sometimes athletes do that because they're not quite sure exactly what type of shoe they'll need. Some shoes are softer, some are harder, so you can change your shoes throughout a problem. And Megan finding her groove and a zone here.
I was going to say she's going to jump off a low foot, but she changed her mind and moved it up to that heel. I think keeping that foot on for that move is going to be pretty important to maintain your body position on it.
One minute left.
Zach finding that left heel that we saw earlier from Xander.
Almost. Has to control the zone to get the point.
With 40 seconds left, if he jumps back on and if he still has enough in the tank to do it, I think he can definitely make that zone stick. Megan's already achieved the zone, so her objective now is to try to reach the top with 22 seconds. It is certainly possible. She just has to move quickly and efficiently with a plan. Zach has decided to call it. So both athletes will go back to isolation and rest. And we'll prepare to bring out our next athletes, which will be Alex Johnson and Ross Fulkerson.
Alex Johnson is an absolute legend, so it's been a pleasure to watch her climb, and I'm so excited that she made it to bouldering finals.
Yeah, she's such an inspiration to so many of these people climbing. I'm sure that a lot of her fellow competitors are a little starstruck to be around her. She's just such a legend. She's so amazing, and she's so experienced.
She was the first American to win a Bouldering World Cup on U.S. soil back in 2008.
2008 was kind of a long time ago, but she's really, I can't believe she's still on the comp scene. I know she took some time off, so it's really impressive to me. It's really inspiring and makes me wonder how many people have retired in their late 20s and are considering, maybe coming back. Give it another go.
Yeah, she took 3 years off from competition climbing to coach, but then she came back to gun for the Olympics.
You can see her composure as well as her hand strength as she readjusted on that not very good slopey hold on a very steep section of wall.
Alice making that move look easy.
I know. I think she really capitalized on her height there as she reached through, but then that body tension was also just really impressive.
And Ross Fulkerson with that really hard Gaston, and now he's going to have to find the right foot to make this next move work to the zone.
So he's also choosing, like the last competitor, to have a chalk bag on, and that's a really good opportunity for him to take a little break on that route and reassess his plan. Ross Fulkerson is also an impressive person in that he has the potential to be a role model. He won the Young Gun Award, which is given to youth climbers who display not only incredible athleticism and talent in climbing, but also just great qualities of a human being, so that they can eventually go on to be the future role models for the younger climbers coming up. And I think it's important for them to recognize that that is part of their role now.
Absolutely. Alex Johnson falling early on that attempt.
She gave a nice little clinic there on how to not put your hands behind you when you fall. That's such a delicate match on men's one for the feet. Really tricky because they are dual textured holds, so you don't actually want to push your left foot on it, you just want to tap it. Just one more thing to think about.
That's why climbing is so exciting and fun, because it takes lots of mental ability and physical ability at the same time. Catching that Gaston with just 3 fingers. And he must be a little tired because he made 4th in lead this week, so he's been climbing for several days.
Yeah, it's impressive to come out, and the athleticism and just how much training goes into these athletes to be able to come out and do this day after day is so impressive. You know, I wonder with this problem, Flavia, that all the women previewed it together. I wonder if they'd come out without having seen the problem before or talked about it, if anybody would have tried it feet first, or if one person had suggested it in the preview and everybody agreed.
I think that must be it. Here he is with, he was, I think, trying to kind of bicycle that hold.
Yeah, you know, he's 6'1", so that was a lot of body to kind of smush into that frame.
Good efforts from both athletes.
Now we're coming out with the top 2 that qualified from semis. Melina Costanza, she was the only woman to top all the boulders, and not only that, she flashed them all. It was so amazing to watch her climb. It's amazing to watch her climb. I'll just end the sentence there. Zach Gala is the men's 1 lead right now.
So he had a very bad injury in 2020 and required surgery on his labrum in November.
What's a labrum, Flavia?
Part of his shoulder, I assume. There's a couple of labrums actually, but the Instagram did not quite specify which one. But that was in November. He had surgery, and then in May of 2021, he just climbed a V13 Euro roof low in Utah. So he seems to be recovering quite nicely.
Well, don't blink because we may miss tops here by both athletes. They are both so on fire right now.
Melina shows us how it's done.
And a top, a big smile. Oh, that's such a relief. Having listened to the crowd, she probably knows that none of her fellow competitors have topped that yet.
I believe that was a flash.
It was a flash.
Zach using liquid chalk there. So the athletes have the choice between using powder chalk and liquid chalk. Liquid chalk for me stays on rather long. So it's nice to have that as a base and then use powder chalk on top of it.
Yeah, and New Mexico is a really dry climate, so I'm not sure that it's as prevalent here as it is in maybe more humid areas, but I could be wrong.
No, I don't think you're wrong at all. When I went to Tennessee and Georgia to climb, I was like, what is this? I need to chalk up after every move.
So the pressure's on for Zach. He knows he's sitting in first. He knows he had an amazing semifinals round, and now he's also the only person left on the mats, so he doesn't even have the security of another climber. He knows all eyes are on him, but these athletes are well accustomed to pressure.
Yeah, he actually got 5th in a Boulder World Cup this year.
That's really impressive.
Post-surgery.
Right. Maybe it's bionic now.
Great footwork by Zach Gala there, trying to get that zone.
No, but he just was never quite comfortable. He got squatted down so far, it seemed, that he couldn't actually move out of that position. So those blue pill volumes, the shiny white ones, are new, at least to the gym. I've never seen them around before. And they are really interesting. They are the most slippery dual textured holds I've ever felt before. That shiny surface is, I don't know what they are doing with materials these days, but that is like the most slippery thing I've ever felt. You cannot do anything with that. On the contrast, though, the texture part is quite nice. As you can see, athletes are resting on it. We'll see the blue pill come into play later in the women's problems for something that looks pretty exciting.
You can see that he's holding on to almost nothing there. The hold is big itself, but the part that is actual holdable is not very big.
So that leaves Xander Waller with the only top on men's one. All the other men did not achieve a zone or a top, so they're all even in second place at the moment. If they had to, they would count back to semis, but that is not what the setters intend or want to see. So we're back now to the start, to the beginning of the climbers again, and they're going to move on to their second problem.
And the first climber should be Chloe and Simon.
If you follow Chloe on Instagram, she posts a lot about her training. She's very serious about what she's doing in her training, and she trains a lot at the Salt Lake City Training Center and has been really focused on that. That said, she did start college at UC Berkeley in January of 2020, so she's certainly learning how to balance everything in life right now.
Well, she's doing a fantastic job of it.
Yeah. So men's two, I think, is going to be a really fun problem to watch. There could be the potential, I believe, for like a double clutch to those upper volumes, the big white rounded volumes. But who knows? Maybe we'll see something interesting and creative come out of it.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some exciting jumps and some exciting falls to go along with it.
Women's two is the most climbiest. I'm going to just use the weirdest word possible. The climbiest of climbs. It actually climbs more like an outdoor climb than all of the other climbs here today. Those crimps are really positive, but it's still pretty small.
Here she is rocking on her heel hook, requiring lots of leg strength. And she's able to control the top for a flash.
Yeah, and you could see that that top was not a gimme. She grimaced a lot in that final match. So well done for Chloe. Simon taking kind of a wild running fall off to the side. Good thing there's lots of paddage there. This is the steepest section of this boulder in the gym, and it's certainly going to feel steep when he's trying to catch those two volumes.
those two volumes with not much on them to hold on to.
No, but I'm thinking that if you catch them even for a second and then rip off, you're going to leave a lot of skin behind.
Ouch.
All of these holds are either new or incredibly clean, so everything's going to feel very frictiony, which is great until you don't have any skin left, and then it's just very uncomfortable. So he's reaching out to that left-hand crimp and then eyeing up the big jump. Oh, and that was actually really close. Just needs to control that swing a touch more. And you can see actually behind him are the setters for the bouldering today. They're anxiously watching to see how things worked out.
That red hole next to the black hole he's on is a blocker hole to kind of make it a little bit harder to start. It seems like he knows what he has to do now to stick that dyno.
So the setters for this competition, Fabio, they don't just roll in and set because they like setting. They have been well trained. I think Mike Bocchino is the chief setter for bouldering today. He's sitting back in the corner. We'll see him again. But he's been doing this for a long time, and he's really accustomed and seasoned to setting for these kinds of competitions. And a near stick again.
Yeah, for setting, there are levels that you have to achieve and move up to set at such high-level competitions. And it's similarly for judges, too.
Yeah, USA Climbing is a well-oiled machine with a lot of moving parts, but everybody knows their jobs. The preparation and work that's gone into this competition to see it through is just really impressive.
Oh, I thought he was going to stick it that time.
So it seems he's sort of doing the same thing over and over. I wonder if there's any sort of change he could make, even a micro change, like leaving his foot behind just a touch longer, or bringing out his left foot and trying to keep it close to the wall when he jumps.
Oh, he did. He made that change.
He did. He made a big change.
Oh.
But then that match is really difficult, I think, if you catch it with one hand.
Oh, and he's going to give it one last try.
You know, they have a lot of time left to rest now. It's not like in qualifiers.
He does it. He has 3 seconds left. Oh, my goodness.
Well, that was worth it for the ability to control the zone. And the audience loves it. Everybody's thrilled to see that. Thank you so much, Xander, for giving us that really great show. Or Simon. Sorry, Simon.
Molly can just predict the future because we have Xander Waller out now.
That's right. Xander Waller and Katie Bone coming out for their second problems. You can see Katie has that little white thing on the back of her arm. That is for her diabetes. She is a diabetic. She found out about her diabetes just a few years ago when she was feeling sick and tired after climbing competitions. And she's been doing a great job managing it. Her family's worked really hard to not let it slow her down. And, you know, growing up and going through puberty and dealing with all of the changes of your blood sugar along the way just must be a real challenge. So she's a role model, I think, for a lot of people that are dealing with that.
And she can actually change the side her pump's on depending on what she's climbing.
That's nice. Options. Katie's looking very strong on this problem. Choosing the match, which is a good option if you're a little bit shorter, as Katie is. That's going to be a big move. Oh.
Xander going for the double clutch again. I wonder if he'll figure out what Simon did, but maybe a little earlier. It seemed to work quite well.
Xander is one of the many people here at this competition that are dreaming of the Olympics in 2024. He put on his bio that is something he's working toward achieving. At 17 years old, he certainly has the ability and a lot of time and energy to do so. Katie starting back into women's 2. While a straightforward climb compared to some of the others, it's pretty powerful and steep and strenuous.
to problem number one, the athletes might be a little powered down because that was really powerful as well. Oh, almost making it stick with just 3 fingers.
That was closer. He stuck it, instead of pulling straight down, he was sticking it a little bit close. He was a little closer to sticking it by having sort of either hand in opposition, almost in a Gaston. And that seems to be the only way you could stop that left swing.
Oh,
Closer. He's at this point now where, does he change his beta? He seems to be making micro progress. He only has 1 minute and 22 seconds left, but it doesn't take much time to try that move.
yeah, he was kind of jumping on really fast with not much rest, so maybe it's not too tiring for him.
Okay, come on. You got this, Xander. Come on, man. Come on, Katie, come on.
Katie eyeing up that hold, able to stick it that time with the heel hook, switches to pinch, I believe, and now she's eyeing up the top. Remember, she must have 2 hands on the top and show control. And she does it.
She's very happy. She was digging so deep. You could tell each hard move she made, she had that little head snap back, which is usually a good sign that you're getting tired. And that was just pure competitive spirit. Probably on a normal day, Katie would have not done that. But being that she's competitive and hungry for a podium, she worked for it. Katie's already had a podium this week, 3rd in speed. I'm sure she would love to have a 2nd podium. Oh,
Almost.
so close. Perhaps he should have abandoned that. I don't know. It looked close.
He'll probably be wondering that at night.
Yeah, especially when he goes back and watches Simon's beta.
Make some noise for Madison Fisher and Joe Goodacre.
So our next competitors are out. We have Madison Fisher and Joe Goodacre. Madison Fisher is from Ontario. As we mentioned, there's quite a few people from Canada at this competition.
So Katie's top on women's 2 was not done on the first try as Chloe's was. So Chloe's actually in front of Katie at the moment. They both achieved a zone the first try. So that's why that works, even though they top different problems.
Yeah, Maddie, come on.
Here we have Joe, first attempt going for the double dyno. Wonder if he'll stick with it or change it around a bit. Madison shaking out her hand there. Those cramps must have hurt a little bit.
We were on them earlier. They're really painful. They're super in-cut to a fault, I think. They're really uncomfortable. I did not like them.
Yeah, Joe, get it. Come on.
Ooh, something new there.
Yeah, a different foot position to start that movement. It may have just pushed him back further, though, honestly, than helped him find a spot. But certainly worth trying some different foot beta.
And thank you to Mike, the head route setter there, for moving the brush. He almost landed on it, and that would definitely hurt.
Ultimately, it is the athlete's responsibilities to, put their brushes back down in a way that's safe, but it's nice to have somebody looking out for you.
Come on, Mandy, come on.
And she sticks it this time.
Powering up on that heel. The athletes are pretty high up at this point. It's a little scary to make these kind of desperate moves up high. But I think when you're in comp mode, you just let that fear go.
See if she can control it with her second hand. She seems to be struggling a bit to find good footwork. And she does it.
Excellent.
You got this, Joe. Come on, dude.
Joe with a little over a minute left. Kind of trying a pogo method there, but flew right off.
You can see that curtain to his left. That is actually where the other competitors are in isolation. And they're all just hanging out back there, waiting for their turn. They're not supposed to be talking to one another, sharing any information.
Looked a bit better there, but still a lot of power.
Well, this is making Simon's effort on that much more impressive.
That he did it with a few seconds.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we'll see that again here. Come on, Joe. I know that the setters certainly intended for them to be able to do it that way, but I wonder how much thought went into that one-handed method that Simon executed so well.
All right, make some noise for Megan Lynch and Zach Richardson.
Our next athletes are out, Megan Lynch and Zach Richardson.
Megan Lynch pulled out a top on the last boulder problem during semis, which was what helped her secure her spot today in finals.
And she managed 3 tops in qualifiers. That red tape there is a boundary tape. She can't go past that. Making it to the zone, no problem. And that heel hook really was no problem for her.
Yeah, and you notice she's actually wearing 2 different shoes, so I'm wondering if she intentionally chose something she thinks heel hooks better.
Let's see if she can control it. Nice work.
This problem's proving to be a little friendlier to the women.
And this one is proving to be quite hard.
Zach seemed to be toying around with the idea of a one-handed catch, but he spun right off, so I'm not sure how he's going to change his beta to make that one-handed catch work, or if he's going to go to that two-handed.
Yeah, as you mentioned in semis, sometimes the athletes get tunnel vision and they keep trying one beta over and over again and forget to switch over.
Well, it's so hard to know how long it's going to take to actually make it work because, you know, certainly all of these athletes would eventually send this boulder problem that we've seen. But
Looked kind of like Simon beta there.
it did, but what he's missing is that tension, that foot tension that captures him so he does not go spinning off. So to give you an indication of how deep this men's field is today, Kai Leitner and Ben Hanna both missed finals, 2 climbers that typically do make finals. So it's a really strong crew of men out.
Indeed. Looking at his fingertips, I wonder if he's running a little bit short on skin. Every time he hits those holds and falls off, he's losing a tremendous amount of skin.
And he's only halfway through. You know, he still has 2 boulders left to go, so he really does need to maintain the skin for what's to come, because certainly more volumes are on the way.
All right, let's help him out. Come on, Zach, come on. You got this. Let's make some noise. Come on, guys.
It's a really interesting coordination, that pogo, and then almost throwing your right hip in towards the wall as you catch with your right hand. Really detailed, really intricate coordination moves that have really gained popularity in the last decade or so of competition climbing. Gone are the days of the strong crimp pulling.
Trying something a little different there, matching on the 1 volume. Looks like he might be calling it a day on men's 2.
Well, he's in good company so far with success rates on men's 2. It's proving to be pretty challenging.
And on their way out, we've got Alex Johnson and Ross Fulkerson.
Now we have Alex Johnson and Ross Beckerson out for their second problems. Alex really needs a top here to be in contention for podium. But Alex taking time to brush the holds in semis. She was brushing the holds for every athlete who needed it. She knows the importance of fresh holds.
It's also giving her an opportunity to really feel how deep those crimps are and how big those holds are before she goes on to them.
Let's go, Alex. Come on.
Her foot pretty close to that red boundary, but she's so self-aware that she's able to recognize exactly how far she can go.
So much shoulder power there after all these days of climbing. Quite impressive.
Yeah, Alex is not short on shoulder power ever, it seems. And flexibility.
And finger strength.
And all of the above. Riding that heel hook to the top.
Woohoo!
We're fans. Good job, Alex. And with 2 minutes and 40 seconds left, she gets a little extra time to rest, and a nod to the camera there. Always a good sport.
She's been on the U.S. team for 17 years.
Wow, that's longer than a
Katie's-
lot of our competitors and held there. Yes. Ross Fulkerson was 3 when she first made her debut on the U.S. team. Well, Ross Fulkerson himself is a U.S. bouldering team member at the moment, so he's well respected in the boulder crowd and is in contention for some really, really good successes in the future.
He seems to be balancing college and training quite well. He's a student at UCLA and is still competing and making semis and World Cups.
Come on, Ross. Come on, man.
You know, we've noticed a trend, Favia, that a lot of our athletes are really studious, really highly... Ooh, he just touched the wrong hole. He dropped back down, though. But anyway, a lot of the athletes are working towards really ambitious professional goals and education goals as well, which I think is really impressive. You know, we have a lot of athletes competing that are going to Ivy schools or really high-ranked schools. I know we have like UC Berkeley, we have UPenn, Princeton. So a lot of these people are just highly ambitious academic young people.
Let's go, Ross.
Well, hardworking translates to whatever you focus on, so it kind of makes sense. They're hardworking in the gym and they're hardworking in the schools.
Favia is a Harvard grad and a doctor, so she's well aware of that mentality.
Oh! He will likely stick with that beta.
Come on, Ross. Come on, man.
Yeah, with only 20 seconds left, you don't have a lot of time to think of any other option. Trying to go to the 1, 2, 3. Ooh, quick breath.
Yeah.
I feel like I needed to take that breath too before he hopped on. The excitement's high. Oh,
Ross Fulkerson, everybody.
a really great effort from Ross as he makes the long walk back around the boulder to get back into isolation.
Number 2, Melina Costanza and Zach Gala.
What do you think? Is Zach gonna send?
I think so.
I think he might too. Melina,
Absolutely.
I 100% agree with you.
I would be shocked.
Yeah, women's two, the setters did say would be likely what they thought would be the easiest problem for the women today. And so far that seems to be proving true. We've had lots of tops.
Melina just eyeing up the start holes there. It's very smart to study before you go on. You don't want to be on the problem thinking, what do I do next? It's always good to have a plan. Big jump from Melina there.
Just power. That move is not easy. And she's also going to do the heel to the match.
And she flashes again.
Now, Melina is also one of those highly decorated athletes. She has been on the U.S. team 18 times across disciplines.
Wow.
Yeah, certainly impressive. Zach going for kind of a wild pogo. He's going to have to control that a lot in order to stick that move. That's the name of the game, I think, on this is how much is enough to stick. Because if you put too much into it, you're going to fly right off.
So fun fact about Melina, evidently she owns a tattoo gun and will do tattoos.
I noticed she does have some ink on her arm. I wonder if she did that herself. That would be pretty brave to do your own tattoo.
I don't think she's short on braveness either.
No, that's absolutely true. All right, so Zach's going to see if he can bring down the explosive power a little bit and build in a little extra body tension for this movement. A position we're all well familiar with now. And that left-hand crimp must be getting, it's pretty well used at this point. So he probably wants to brush everything off a little bit just to give himself that little bit of extra friction before he makes the move.
It's very well used. The men have been jumping on that start hold with mere seconds between attempts.
So currently, Xander Waller is sitting in the first place spot with the only one having a top.
Looks like he's trying to use a heel hook despite that blocker hold.
Yep, and that's exactly why they put it there. They saw the potential for the heel, so they said, how can we block that? We'll just screw this on here. So to give perspective on the men's boulder problems thus far, Xander Waller, again, is the only one with a top, but Simon Hibbler is in second place, and what he's achieved so far in 2 problems is 1 zone. No one else has even made a zone yet. So these problems are tough. They are harder, I think, than what we saw in semis.
Yes. Because these climbers are no slouches.
No. And I was talking to the setters earlier. They did mention that these problems, it would be expected that these problems would be a little bit more challenging to create more separation. I think we're seeing some pretty serious separation right now. They're certainly hard.
Oh, and he runs out of time, but was going to try some interesting and new beta.
So now everyone's shifting. Look at the whole crew. We've got judges, we've got camera crew. Everybody's making their way to the next problems to see what we have in store for the athletes. Remember, the athletes know what the problems are. They've had that preview. That said, they may have a little bit of trouble remembering all the movement on it, especially having just tried 2 problems. So they may simply think of the problem as, oh, that's the one with the big jumpy thing in it.
I know some athletes have told me that they go back and they try to draw it out or run through it over and over again so they can try their best not to forget. But
That's smart. I think that when I've been in this position, I usually go back and am pretty terrified, and then I go brain dead. And we've got a pretty good crowd tonight. It's packed in. We have been selling tickets for this and trying to keep the numbers limited for COVID precautions, but it's not a very big viewing space in general. So it's kind of an intimate but very supportive crowd.
and we have Chloe and Simon out on problem 3. Taking a chance to remember their plan for each of the problems.
Women's 3 was my personal favorite from earlier when we got to try them. It was one that made more sense to me. It's really a question more of balance and tension, especially through these first few moves.
Simon just missing the zone there.
And the zone hold that Chloe will go to does have a little screw-on peanut that's pretty sharp and positive, but she's really not going to go there until she can get both feet and both hands around that corner. It's an interesting balance. Simon has that bonus. I think we'll see a lot of men end up with that bonus today. It's what happens next that looks pretty challenging. But he's reading that the way that the route setters had intended, that kind of throw across.
Chloe makes that look easy, but I tried that move this morning and it requires a ton of coordination
Although
and balance.
neither of us tried sticking our finger in the bolt hole like she just was. That was a lot of finger strength. She did abandon that method, but it was weird.
That's the secret.
The balance coming around that corner was so tricky, and it's one of those things I think when, as an athlete, once you get it, it's there and it's in your arsenal of movement. But until you've gotten the muscles to work in the way that you want them to get around that corner, it's just not there.
Simon making the zone again and just smearing on that volume.
I did a little Instagram stalking on Simon, and on his Instagram page, it says, he has a quote that says, "Every loss is a lesson. That's why I never lose." So he's a tenacious competitor, which is coming out for sure tonight. This method is certainly doable, but really challenging to come around that way. Very tenuous.
Do you think they will count that zone as control?
I don't know. Let's watch the scoring. And if you're interested in following along on the scoring at home, you should do so. It's at usacresults.org/scores. And the scores are live updated. That is exactly what we get to see right now, too. So we'll see. It looks like as of now, she has not been given that zone. If I were the judge, I don't think I would have given that either, though.
Yeah.
It just didn't have the control. You know, she certainly touched it for a moment, but she didn't really look comfortable.
She can
Secure.
always appeal it too if she needs to.
There we
but
go. That's the
control.
secure zone. Now she's got this big hop up or really interesting back step beta.
Oh,
Wow.
great technique by Chloe there.
That was a super interesting approach.
What do we call that move? A drop knee back step?
Funk. the back step funk.
With only 15 seconds left.
Wow.
She's moving a lot faster, just as you said she would.
Yeah, that was really impressive though, the way she just moved straight through that big blue volume.
Let's make some noise for Xander Waller and Caitlin.
Next out, we'll have Katie Bone and Xander Waller. Katie does really well on these balancy problems. I hate to curse her by saying so, but I do believe she's going to find some comfort in these first few moves anyway. We'll see if Xander Waller's 5'11" and +4 from fingertip to fingertip. He is 6'3". We'll see if that gives him some assistance today as he tries to do these moves.
That is an impressive reach.
Yeah, and I wonder, like, look at his shoulders. They're pretty broad, so maybe that's where a lot of it comes from, is these broad, powerful shoulders.
And you were absolutely right. Katie having no problem with that start.
You know, these delicate balancing problems tend to show how nervous a competitor is too, because you can't be shaky or nervous at all on them. You have to be ready to just kind of take your time and be patient and establish yourself across the feet.
Being patient in this situation is very difficult, though.
Oh, so difficult. And you've got the crowd cheering for you, which is really intended to be supportive, but it almost gives you a sense of urgency sometimes. That's the only usable surface on those two start holds is underneath of them where she's pressing right now. There we go.
Makes it work.
Yeah, it's very solid. Now she just has to get up to that little peanut. It is super sharp, positive, but sharp.
Power up. Wow. Look at Katie go. Can she hold it? She holds it. Look at that strength.
And that is a tiny little left hand. With 2 minutes left, though, she can do it.
And Xander was in a funky cross there. I hope Katie takes a significant rest there. That seemed like she put in a lot of energy.
Yeah, and she really only needs about a minute to do this problem. I think she's going to move quicker through the slower section, and the upper section flows pretty quickly.
Less than a minute. Chloe did those first few moves in about 3 seconds.
That is true. You can hear the crowd chanting Katie's name. She is so beloved.
Let's go, Katie. Come on.
She's beloved in the climbing world and the ninja world. When she's on obstacles, we actually all stop what we're doing to watch her do the obstacles.
She's just such an impressive young woman. That left hand is pretty slopey and difficult to hang on to, but the right hand's worse. Oh, just looking a little uncertain, maybe running a little bit out of energy and power on the top.
And a slip from Xander, too. Getting to the zone doesn't seem to be a problem for these athletes so far, but coming out of it seems quite difficult.
Well, let's go. Let's do it. Come on, guys.
A top here for Xander would more or less guarantee him a podium, as he's the only person to have a top so far.
Come on, guys. Let's go. Come on.
18 seconds left, both athletes looking for a top.
Can they make it? 10 seconds left.
The balance between rushing.
And Xander still on with 4 seconds. Oh.
Oh my goodness. That was so close. Thank you for an exciting show from Xander and Katie. That's why we're here.
All right, make some noise for Madison Fisher and Joe Goodacre.
And now we have Madison Fisher and Joe Goodacre. They're going to show us what they have on the third problem of the night.
So you'd mentioned earlier that Madison had taken second at nationals after 2 years of climbing. Is that correct?
That's what she told us.
That's amazing.
I believe it. She's been climbing strong this whole comp, and here she is in finals.
Most people after 2 years are psyched to get like a V4,
I know I was.
right? Madison making her way to the zone. Oh,
Just a slip of the hand.
I actually had that same experience earlier today, and I have a significant gash on my middle finger from that little peanut. That is no joke. That is super, super sharp. So I feel your pain right now, Madison. Joe just trying to figure out the best way to come into this. Oh, so powerful.
You could really tell he was thinking and trying hard. His eyes showed a lot of expression there.
It's one thing about wearing masks now is we can really see people's expressions more than we used to, I think. We're paying more attention to the eyes.
Yeah, I've been trying to learn how to smile with my eyes. I don't know if it's working yet.
People can tell when I'm smiling because there's just more wrinkles.
Madison taking time to brush the holds off.
Madison's currently sitting in third with 1 top and 2 zones. Oh.
A little unexpected slip there for Madison.
Yeah, thinking ahead, I think, sometimes can be a hindrance because you lose focus, especially through these balancing problems.
Oh.
And I think that was the right beta for him, for Joe. He reached up high for that catch, and that allowed him to sort of spread out. He's got pretty broad shoulders. And so to catch in low, he's having to be pretty narrow with his shoulders. But then he dry fired.
A dry fire is when you somewhat unexpectedly come off the hold pretty powerfully and often lose a ton of skin. It's quite painful.
Yeah, there's usually a lot of, oh, after somebody dry fires.
Yeah, the whole crowd goes, ooh.
It's also sometimes audible, a little whop. 1 minute remaining. Let's see what Joe can do. I think his plan of that higher left is the right one, but maybe he's feeling a little fatigued now.
Yeah, I think his hand is feeling it after that dry fire. He looked down and was shaking his head.
It seems like Madison was struggling a little bit to recall what she had done through this low section that she'd done so easily before. Hop up to that sloper.
A little bit of a fight there, but she manages to hold on. Oh.
Both athletes off at the same time while she is shaking that hand. That right hand peanut is just so sharp.
And that is all for Joe Goodacre and Madison Fisher.
Both athletes are leaving the stage with less skin than they started.
Now we have Megan Lynch and Zach Richardson. The athletes will be told when they can turn around. Looks like Zach got a little bit too excited there to start.
And it looks like the judges are just making sure they're really certain about maybe something technical on the wall or perhaps a hold. Judges are constantly watching and the officials are constantly watching to make sure that everything is perfect. Perhaps they're cleaning off some blood. I actually expect that to be what they're doing right now.
You can see a little bit there.
So my statement was truer than ever. They did leave with less skin.
Now they're able to start. Zach hitting that zone effortlessly. Oh, but then he falls. That move must be so hard.
Come on, Megan, come on.
Yeah, and I think where they hit on that upper volume is just really dependent on things like their arm length, their shoulder width, and just generally their body mechanics. So each person's going to be a little different. Megan hoping to lose less skin than those before her.
And she's down.
You know, when you step up to a climb and you see blood on it, especially in the start holds, that can't bode well for your confidence in how things are going to go.
It kind of goes the same for outdoor routes and their names.
That's
like
true.
Bloody Flapper,
I
a
was
problem
just-
at Waco.
Yep, that was exactly what came into my mind. You know, my first ever gear lead was called Gear Battle.
Oh,
Yeah, I stopped trad climbing after that for obvious reasons. I peed myself. It was terrifying. So both athletes taking a moment here to suss it out. Megan knows she can do the lower part, so now she's looking at that upper part, thinking about how she's going to execute. That big blue hold that she's using down low with both hands will become a foot. While it's a big surface, it's steep there, and it's not that positive. They could put their toe in the bolt hole for extra friction, but most athletes are opting out of that.
Zach holding almost holding on to the next hold.
Megan eyeing up that very sharp left hand that's coming up. The conflicted feeling of, I'm so glad it's sharp because I can hang on to it, and that's going to be very sharp and I'm going to leave skin behind.
I know that quite well.
If you are just joining us, this is the finals for bouldering at the North American Cup Series, and I am Molly Rennie, and I'm joined by Favia Dubek.
And the gym they're climbing at is Stone Age in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And Albuquerque is a great place for climbers. We have a wonderful gym and a great outdoor accessibility here. So we can go climbing right after work.
That's right. And those feet are just so difficult to stand on. It's the biggest hold down there, but it's just not positive. You wish for a little screwed on jib to put your toe on, but of course that would make that move far too easy for these super strong women. So Favi, you got to stop telling people how great Albuquerque is for climbing. I don't want people bleeding all over my projects. Opting for the lower of that hold maybe is the right choice for Zach. That looked really good.
I was thinking the top part was better, but he's making it work almost.
That is really tricky. That movement out left is just so incredibly hard because those holds are really slopey.
Megan looking a little sad after that, but she did quite well.
Megan's still sitting in third at the moment. She achieved the zone on that route on her first try. Katie achieved it on her second try, so that's what separates the two of them on that particular boulder problem. Currently the standings are Melina has 2 tops, 2 flashes, Chloe Cosquay, Megan Lynch, Madison Fisher, Caitlin Bone, and of course we are still looking to see Alex Johnson coming out for the women.
With Ross Fulkerson coming out with her. And they are on problem 3. There are 4 problems tonight.
Thus far for the men, if you can get to a zone hold first try, and we ended the competition right now, you would be on the podium. Of course, we still haven't seen from Zach, Gala, and Ross Fulkerson on this problem yet.
Starts no problem for Alex.
We'll see the contrast of her height on these first first holds. You can see how much taller she is on them than some of her shorter fellow competitors.
Ross going for a different technique there. Instead of just trying to hold on to the pinch, just move on to the next hold.
You know, if it's bad, just skip it. Why bother? If you're strong enough to move on, just move on. You know, this is sort of what I did expect on women's three. I did sort of feel like if you were a bit taller, those first moves could be a little bit tricky because you're having to squat more. You're not able to stand into that undercling. That said, I think the second half of this boulder problem will probably favor Alex in her height.
So Alex has many first female ascents and first ascents under her belt. She is quite accomplished in the outdoor world. Recently climbed the Swarm V14.
Let's go, Alex. Come on.
And she finds that balance point to move on. She has a zone now. And Ross makes his beta work. Fabulous.
Top for Ross would be huge.
Oh.
But a pretty bold coordination move for that last move.
Well, he said it worked for the first part.
That's true.
Try it again.
Again, why not? Just go for it. Well, he's got lots of time to rethink his beta or maybe figure out if something will work a little bit better.
Sometimes the athletes brush not just to remove the chalk, but to kind of give them something to do to force them to rest.
Yeah, I think these athletes get hyper-focused on trying to do the moves and don't listen to the fact that, you know, their bodies are tired or that they're pumped or their skin needs a moment to breathe. So it is nice to have that option. We saw Alex yesterday, or earlier today, I guess, in semis. Just take a rest. Oh, look, she's doing it again. She just sits down and takes a moment to rest. Again, I think just sort of reminding herself to take some time before she hops on. Looks like she's also stretching out her forearms right now. 39 seconds left. Not a lot of time. Certainly the last go.
But Ross's beta is so fast. He doesn't need much time.
So confident. That's what's so impressive about Ross.
Oh, but getting a little tired there. He knows this is probably his last attempt and doesn't want to waste it. Oh.
A little frustrated, but, you know, he had a great go. He made a zone, which is few and far between for these men today. Actually securing that zone. He is sitting in third now, along with Zach Richardson. Out now we have Zach Gala and Melina Costanza. Let's see if Melina can continue her reign. She may be the only person in this competition that's not that tired.
Yes, in lead, she topped all the problems in qualifiers, semis, and finals, and she has been flashing.
You know, I took all these notes on Melina because I wanted to have a lot to say about her, but she's never out long enough for me to say a whole lot. So I'm going to say this. She's majoring in physics, which I think is really an interesting major for a climber, and I wonder how much she thinks about physics now as a climber.
I don't think gravity affects her.
Yeah, it doesn't apply. Oh.
Zach finding the same beta as Ross.
And the crowd is loving that. Just impressive. And look, he's got a toe hook there, so he may be able to reach up.
Oh. Well, that was a fantastic first attempt.
Well, Melina did not top. So this is a historic moment for this competition. But she did secure the zone on her first attempt. And with 2.5 minutes, more than 2.5 minutes left, she certainly has lots of time to figure out how to finish this problem.
This problem has to be difficult. There have been no tops so far.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I sort of thought from my impression of this problem that once you got up to the the sloper above the zone hold, that you could probably figure out how to finish it. But it's actually proving to be pretty challenging for these ladies.
Let's get behind him. Come on, Melina. Come on, Zach.
Can Zach Gala find a top on this problem? He needs it.
Yeah, he does need it. He only has one zone so far. And it's on this problem. Here's Melina. She's eyeing that little crimp out to the left. Oh,
She fights for it.
very powerful.
And she does it. That is 3 tops out of 3 boulder problems so far for Melina.
You know, it wasn't fair for her to not to have all 4 sends today, because I think she needs to show she's not human.
Oh. Zach looking a little confused as to why he's slipping off that hold that he hit so easily in the beginning. Maybe a little fatigue setting in.
Yeah, I was going to say, Fabia, I think I have a guess, and I think it's that he's probably getting tired. Xander Waller still the only male with a top, and that was on the first problem. The setters certainly provided a very challenging set for the men for this finals round. You know, as the men are starting, and women are both starting to storm onto the World Cup scene in more force than ever before, I think it's great for them to have these new challenges and to force themselves to keep working to get more competitive. Great go.
Oh, here he goes. I love seeing speed climbing and bouldering. Oh, no, just doesn't have it.
Great effort from Zach, but no doubt he's starting to feel more and more disappointed with his run today. After the third boulder problem, Zach actually is in third. He's had 1 zone, and that actually puts him into third place. Simon Hibbler had 2 zones, so he's in second, and Xander Waller had 1 top and 1 zone, so he's standing on the top right now. For the women, Melina obviously is in first with all 3 tops. Alex Johnson has 1 top, 2 zones. Same with Chloe, Megan, Madison, and Katie. What separates the other ladies right now are the number of attempts. And you can see on the screen there, it's just coming down to attempts for the women on really the zones and boulder 2.
And for the men, Xander Waller is on top with the only top of the night so far, with Simon in second and Zach Gala in third.
Now we're gearing up for the 4th and final problem. This is the end of a very long week for a lot of these climbers that have been working really hard all week. Many competed in lead, many are competed in speed, many have podiumed, and here we are at the final boulder problem. This women's boulder problem is nuts. Absolutely nuts. You guys, I stepped up to it and looked at it and I was like, no way am I even going to. It's crazy. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be a great show.
So we have Chloe and Simon out. Women's 4 has a crazy dyno.
And Chloe read that exactly right. She just was a little wild and uncontrolled through it. The men's problem, too, is also really aesthetic. Has a pretty cool rose move on it that we're about to see.
This was actually one of my favorite problems. I really enjoyed the start moves.
Very powerful pocket pulling. It is a steep section there. Oh, and a zone. That's great for him.
Yes, Simon's doing great here. Can he get a top is the question. He tried to place his foot on top of that pocket, but the dual texture just Made it a no-no. It does not work.
So he's looking now to stand on top of the volume.
Come on, Simon, come on in.
Oh, which is so uncomfortable. Where to put your feet.
Oh.
And that last hold is no gimme, for sure. It's going to be a challenge. This kind of problem, women's number 4, is the kind of thing that I think Chloe does really excel on. She's excellent on all of these types of coordination problems. I've been watching her again on Instagram, and it's just been really fun to see some of the crazy movements she's committing to now. Oh, and she tries just to go the double clutch. Maybe that will work. We haven't seen that in forerunning or warming up with the setters, but certainly an option.
Chloe is she's extremely familiar, no stranger to big dynos. She has been winning bouldering cups recently and was the 2019 Pan Am Youth Champion, so she's quite experienced in these type of moves.
Then she actually tried a really interesting left hand to the blue pill volume, right foot to the start. Oh, there we are, back to the zone again. Simon's making that reach off a heel. Oh, those dual text holds just spit him right off. He can't pinch it. So while he had his thumb on, normally if that was a good textured hold, you could hang on to it a little bit better, but without having any friction for his thumb, he was just relying entirely on body position and fingertips.
I wonder what hold makers are going to think of next to make these holds even harder.
Maybe they'll start morphing in midair.
Wow.
Whoa. That hurt my shoulder so much watching. Pretty sure I just dislocated my shoulder watching that.
Good thing I can put it back in for you.
We have a doctor in the house.
Both athletes back on the wall now.
I want Chloe to go back to the original beta. I think that's the one that will work for her.
I kind of like the shoulder popper.
Yeah. Throwing that heel back up again. But that is a really tricky thing to do because his hand is in the way.
Oh, and he calls it a night. Seems like time is up.
And now because they're done, they can stay out and watch the rest of the athletes go. Katie Bone, although she's fared similarly to her fellow athletes, she actually is sitting in 6th, so doing well on this problem, hitting a zone, topping it, that would bump her up to potentially a podium, so she could really use a good go on this.
Hitting a zone on her first attempt would be very useful.
That would be very useful. Yeah, because really all that separates her in 6th place from Alex Johnson in 2nd is just number of attempts.
Let's go, Katie. Come on, Xander, you got this. Yeah, Xander, come on, man.
Xander starting into this really cool rose move. So powerful.
Come on, Katie.
Throwing the left heel up as he goes around the corner.
Snags the zone.
Yeah, Xander, so strong. Come on, man.
There's that screw on at the top of the level volume that he's going to want his right hand on.
Let's go, Xander. Come on, man.
With nothing but smears and some glassy pockets.
He's trying to place his foot inside the pocket.
This is when you need pointy shoes. Oh, Katie was really close to sticking that. Now if she can hold on to it and then swing back in with her right hand to that blue, I think she can make that work. Come on, Katie.
Look at, oh.
Yeah. So she needs to get that swing. When she swings back right, she needs to pop her right hand up to that blue, which is a really complicated, mentally complicated movement. Just crazy coordination. And you have to be pretty brave because it would be very scary too. If you miss, it's sort of a crazy cartwheel fall. Well, she made movement toward it. She just needs to pull up a little bit more for that move. 17-year-old Xander Waller looking through the rose moves again, testing out his finger tendon strength as he does so. Keep an eye on that left hand as he does that. It's really amazing how he can push down off those two fingers like that without breaking anything.
Trying something different here. He really got on top of that hand hold, zone hold, but still couldn't make it work.
Yeah, going to that with that hand made the heel hook much easier, but then he was forced to try to match on a very small hold.
These men problems are no joke this round.
For sure. Yeah, so you see that time she pulled up before she reached out right, and that was really good intuition on her part.
And she knows now what she needs to do.
Xander's choosing to go up left hand again. Katie in the background almost sticking so close.
Xander saying his fingers have had enough of those pockets. Just Katie on the stage now.
Oh, doesn't get closer. Yes, she has time for another go, for sure.
She knows she needs that zone, so she gave it her all.
A great showing for Katie. This was an amazing experience for her to be in finals. What a great day. And then, of course, Xander, although he didn't top, he did have 2 zones today and 1 top. So that puts him solidly in the first place position at the moment. In fact, I don't believe anybody can best him today. You can stay updated with the final results by going to usacresults.org/scores.
Joe making sure those pockets are really, really clean. That's a smart decision.
Yeah, you certainly don't want to slip out of a rose move. That wouldn't feel very good.
A rose move off of pockets, that would definitely hurt the fingers.
Joe unwinding out of that move with a lot of shoulder control. That was pretty impressive. Madison choosing the double clutch method.
Joe trying the heel hook. That has not worked yet.
It looks so promising. And Madison's actually getting really close on this method. Seems like she could potentially stick from here. She's going to have to deal with that swing out, though.
Both competitors taking a rest there. And she switched betas there. She went back to the setter's intended beta.
So a zone from Madison here will move her into contention for a podium. But that will be dependent upon how the other competitors after her do.
She is currently sitting in 5th place. And Joe is able to use that control in his shoulders again. They haven't been worn out yet.
Oh, and just kind of going for it and hoping he could stick it, but his foot slipped on the way over.
Sometimes just hoping for the best is the way about it.
That's my method sometimes.
So Madison is going back between different betas each jump. She can't decide which one she wants to stick with.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance of tunnel vision and not giving up on a beta too early. But I'm not sure switching back and forth between betas is the most effective method.
You got this, Maddie. Come on.
Joe is making those first few moves look so easy now.
He's making that hold look really good, just resting and chalking up on it.
But with 26 seconds, this is likely his last go.
Oh, that
very
actually
close.
looked promising.
Yeah. Madison giving another go and asking for some support from the crowd, which they are eager to give.
Oh.
Good effort. And that is the end of the run for Madison and Joe.
Next.
Madison will not find her way onto the podium this time.
Next out is Megan Lynch and Zach Richardson.
Zach Richardson thus far has only had one zone, so he's looking to hopefully have a top.
He's currently tied for fourth.
Ooh, that was very close. I think Megan Lynch can stick that. Megan Lynch is currently sitting in fourth, so sticking the zone on this problem would be really beneficial for her.
Zach taking a closer look at the footholds. Let's see exactly where his foot should be placed, and he went much more control to that first pocket than his first attempt. Yes. He gets control of his own.
Oh,
An unexpected slip almost into the wall.
yeah, that was a wild one. And speaking of wild movement here, Megan Lynch has been just getting rowdy on these holds. Oh, but she's so close to sticking. And truly, there is a battle right now for bronze and silver. Chloe's sitting in the third place spot right now, having not gotten the zone on this particular route. However, if Megan gets the zone on this, that will push her into the third place position. We still have yet to see Alex Johnson and Melina Costanza. Melina's already secured the gold medal spot.
And the cash prize.
Oh yeah. And all the bragging rights.
She will walk away with a wonderful weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, he's matching that tiny hold.
That was really close though. I felt like he just could find a little bit better foot position with his left foot and plant it and maybe find the top on this problem. He's shaking his head a little bit though. He's a little disconcerted.
He looks a little tired.
Ah, so close, so close.
Molly, do you think there's any advantage to wearing shorts versus tights in comp bouldering?
I am always going to be a tights girl because I tend to knee bar things and hit my knees against the wall, and it for me is just a lot more comfortable to do that with with tights on. How about you, Fabia?
Yes, when I indoor climb, I much prefer to wear tights because I lose so much skin all over my legs.
Well, and you can see when Megan just walked close to the camera, and actually from this perspective too, she does have all kinds of war wounds all over her legs. That said, it's hot when you're climbing, although the building's pretty cold. It is pretty warm when you're climbing and you're stressed out, so She's probably thankful to have a little less on.
And she screams in excitement or frustration.
She's got 32 seconds. So does Zach. Oh, it's getting a little wild here. He can take a little breath here. He does have 25 seconds. Oh, and a crazy fall on the side of the screen from Megan. Oh, and an equally exciting fall from Zach. These athletes are just laying it all out right now, laying themselves out.
They are trying 110%.
Why not? Go for it. And that is a true show from Megan. The crowd appreciates her efforts tonight.
Out now is Alex Johnson and Ross Fulkerson. Let's see what they can show us.
Alex is sitting in the silver medal spot. She will, in theory, remain there no matter what she does. So hopefully she just puts on a great show for us tonight.
You know, she has such strong shoulders. I could see her really sticking this. Like maybe just going up one arm to the white hold and one to the blue.
Yeah, and you know, these kind of movements didn't really exist very much. I mean, really 5 years ago, this kind of movement wasn't really seen in the women's bouldering scene. But I know Alex has been really hungry to restart her competitive career, so she's been practicing these kinds of moves.
She calls this her comeback.
I like it. Ross getting into the rose move. Oh, Alex just had an interesting plan there, hitting that with her left hand. Oh,
And
he was not a fan of the rose move, was not feeling that, would way rather span it. That does look more comfortable. He's 6'1", so it's he's got a big span there and broad shoulders.
like others before him, not quite sure of the footwork. He has his foot in. He's really digging into that pocket.
And that actually getting the zone first try just pushed Ross into the third position. A top would keep him safely in the third position.
Seemed like Alex was trying to control the swing on that throw there. She probably planned to control the swing and then move out to the blue, but not so much in one smooth motion like the setters had intended.
She has the power. I just want her to hit that, pull up, swing right, and grab the blue. It's there. She can do it. Says the spectator.
Yes, it's been a grueling few days. She was in lead. She bouldered for 4 hours yesterday. She bouldered this morning.
Even Alex applauding Ross there as he works toward his movements again. I wonder to see if he'll abandon the rose move yet again. Wow. That is the craziest match.
My mind is blown right now.
I know. I'm trying to decide if that actually saves energy or not.
Come on, here we go.
No, kind of going for like a dynamic heel up while he tries to catch that left hand. Come on, Alex. There's the motion. That's it. That's what I think she needs to do. With a minute left, she can figure this out. Again, Alex's entire performance on this problem doesn't really affect her overall standing. She will receive the silver no matter what she does. In fact, Melina Costanza doesn't even have to come out if she doesn't want to. Of course she will, to obtain the gold.
But I'm really hoping to see a zone here from Alex. It'll be nice icing on the cake. Although I don't like icing.
I don't either.
So so close there. And Ross with one final attempt to get a top here, but he will run out of time.
So we have an interesting thing to think about on this next round, and that is that Zach Gala has one zone in a flash try, and if he gets the next one in one attempt to get to the zone on his fourth problem, that will put him into third ahead of Ross Fulkerson. If he gets it on his second go, no podium for him. Of course, if he tops, that's even better. So this first go we're going to see from Zach will be of the utmost importance. While we all want to have our eyes on Melina to see how she manages this first move, this is truly important for Zach.
And he did so well in qualifiers and semis, so I know he will be disappointed if he doesn't podium tonight.
Setter's taking a moment again to this time clean blood off of the men's problem. Climbers leaving behind a little bit of their DNA for the future generations. Maybe it'll rub off on those of us normal humans. Is that how that works, Fabia?
Absolutely.
Okay, I was hoping so. Now I have to get up that high on that problem to touch it.
That is the problem. That's quite the blood stain.
Yeah, I'm wondering what exactly are we looking at, and what does the body part look like that left that mark? That is actually disgusting.
Maybe a leg, because those pockets look clean.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I do not know.
We'll have to ask Ross afterwards.
All right, both athletes getting ready. I'm so excited to see Melina's go. I want to see if she can stick that crazy wild dyno, but more importantly, I want to see if Zach can move from 6th to 3rd in the next 10 seconds. Because that's all the longer this is going to take.
And Melina is holding onto that while Zach is sticking the rose move. This is such an exciting moment.
And a zone from Zach, that's all we needed to see from him. He now will podium. Do you think we can ask Melina to do it again so we can really focus? Because that was so impressive. Oh, wow. That was a really excellent first go from Zach, and I think he could top that.
And he has officially moved into 3rd place with that flash attempt.
These athletes do not know that that's the case. I mean, I would be glad to not know that. That would be way too much pressure to say, hey, buddy, if you want to move from 6th to 3rd, you got to get to the zone first try. But, you know, no matter what, they're going to try their hardest. It's really us at home watching the scores that are feeling, you know, this anxiety and need for a quick flash to zone.
Well, I think Zach might have been feeling some of the pressure because he wasn't performing like he had been in semis and qualifiers, and he knows this is a stacked field.
Yeah.
Strong boulderers and sport climbers are
sure.
in this round tonight. Making it look easy to get to the zone.
Finding his balance.
Going with the heel hook. And can he come on.
Oh, that was just
Give me a heart attack.
Zach, that was something. I think his arm cramped. I thought he was showing off, but I think he just had an arm cramp and had to shake it out before he could match. Wow. So that does push him into 2nd, so he will now be unofficially the silver medalist for today.
There will be an appeal period where judges, coaches, athletes can discuss whether or not the scoring is correct. But in women, we have Melina Costanza in number 1. Number 2 is Alex Johnson, and rounding out the podium is Chloe. Megan Lynch is in 4th, Madison Fisher in 5th, and our Albuquerque local, Katie, is in 6th.
For the men, an exciting moment right up to the very last moment as Zach climbed the ladder from being in 6th, going into the final problem, flashing the zone immediately, pushing him into 3rd, and then ascend on his second go, pushed him up into that second place position. So what a comeback for Zach. But of course, all eyes on Xander for having that very first top and then 2 extra zones throughout. So first place will go to Xander, Zach 2nd, and Simon Hibbler in 3rd.
So Molly, I've been wondering, why is the bouldering scoring different than the lead? Because I feel like the results would be so different if a point was awarded for each hold.
Oh, you mean how it's scored?
Yes.
Okay, so why don't we start with the first hold and then the next hold you make is a point and the next hold? I think that there's a couple of reasons for that. One of them is that there's a lot of creativity in bouldering. So you can skip through and do some crazy movements that would then obtain you a zone. So that could be one option. Do you have some thoughts?
I don't know. I know in the past there have been other scoring systems where you got 5, 10, 15 points, depending on how far you moved along in the boulder problem. So I just know now we've gone to the World Cup scoring with just tops and zones, which is simpler, much simpler to understand.
Yeah, maybe it's also audience appeal, right? I certainly appreciate not having to sit around and do math. When I've done this before on a different scoring system, I relied on the person with me to do all the math because I have an English degree.
Well, we'd be out of luck.
Yeah, we would have to say, let's defer to the scores. I think also they are able to then intentionally set the zone hold to be interesting, to make that sort of a midway point of like a checkpoint to see how the climber's doing, and it makes it maybe just that much more exciting.
You can see athletes are now free to touch the holds, talk about what happened while the podium is set up.
See, we had a great crowd up on the second story bouldering section of Stone Age Climbing Gym. This location's actually been only open for about a year, and it's just a beautiful location for the local climbers. We really had outgrown just having one gym in this entire place, so it's really great to have, 2 options now for the growing climbing community and the climbing team. We have some really strong youth.
Yes, as you've seen this week, with Isis and Katie, Ollie, and Ben Hanna, who used to be one of the climbing youth members.
Yeah, so we are having a strong showing, and Albuquerque is really making its way onto the map for climbing. So watch out, Salt Lake City.
We're coming for you.
So this was the second of the North American Cup. The North American Cup Series. There will be some more that will happen this year. Not all of them have the speed, lead, and bouldering. Many of them just have 1 or 2 of those aspects, so that's what made this particular competition pretty special. One of the disadvantages of the timing of this one is it happened around the same time as the Youth World Championships in Russia. And we actually had a competitor earlier today who, when I looked at, he was just in Russia competing, and he actually managed to come here after a week off, basically.
That's incredible.
And it looks like we have Melina here to speak with us, so give us just a moment as we switch out.
I'm here with the reigning champion, Melina.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So how did the boulders feel today?
Oh my gosh, these were some of the most fun boulders I've done in a very, very long time. I thought they were awesome, and I thought that last boulder especially was just, yeah, I think the route setting was really amazing.
You were incredible to
Oh,
watch.
thank you so much. I appreciate that. I appreciate you saying that.
Just absolutely mind-blowing. You were so smooth and powerful and graceful. Can you tell us a bit about your training? How did you?
Yeah, actually, I've been living in Seattle, which is my hometown, for the past year and a half, maybe since COVID. I've been doing school remotely, and my brother and I have actually been training together a lot, and he's been pushing me so hard. It's been really, really such a blessing to be able to climb with him and spend more time with him, and we've both been just getting after it, which has been awesome.
Well, it's really paid off.
Thank you.
How were the boulders from qualifiers to semis to finals? Were they approximately the same grade, or how did you feel?
I think it's a little hard to say because under on-site conditions, I typically perform much better than I do in red point or in practice. But I think that was one of the hardest red point rounds I've done in a very long time, actually. It seemed like the boulders were very, very stiff, but it was super fun. I thought they were awesome. And then between the semis and the finals climbs, I think maybe the finals climbs were a little bit harder for me. But I think that they were all just the most fun climbs I've done in so long. I'm so grateful to be here.
Well, I'm glad you had fun, and you also won lead.
Yes.
So that is 2 gold medals for you.
Yeah, this has been a really amazing weekend. I'm so glad that I came.
And what's next for you?
Next is the North America Cup at Reach in Philadelphia. It's lead. Maybe I'll even try my hand at speed climbing if I'm feeling ambitious. But yeah, I'm excited for the next lead cup, and then maybe some of the ones in Canada as well. We will see.
Well, I look forward to seeing you at those. And
thank you.
Congratulations again. Just words don't describe how wonderful it was to watch you climb.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. And thank you for having me on.
And up next, sorry, I just learned that my mask was on upside down.
Oh, no problem.
So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
How did it feel?
I don't know. It was a lot harder than it looked. I kind of assumed after I fell off the first one that I was going to lose, just because it seemed pretty easy, but apparently not. Every boulder was just so much harder than it looked. So.
Was this round much harder than semifinals?
For me it was. I assume for everyone it was. I mean, semifinals was way too easy, I think, but that's just how it goes.
And was this the only thing you competed in this week?
No, I competed in lead earlier this week.
And how is your skin holding up after doing so much bouldering and so much lead?
Honestly, my skin's it's pretty okay.
Can you show us for a second?
Yeah.
Yes, I can corroborate that. His skin is doing good.
I decided to take speed off just because I wanted to have a day to let my skin heal. So I think I made the right decision for sure.
I agree. I think so too. It's a grueling few days.
Definitely.
So what's up next for you?
I don't know. I have to go back to Atlanta and do so much school. I have just been putting it off for 2.5 weeks. So after that, we'll see. I might do Philly. But
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Well, good job today.
Thank you so much.
And it was a pleasure to watch you climb.
Thank you. It was a rough round.
And good luck.
Thank you.
And we will be switching to the podium soon.
Chloe, Alex, Melina, Simon, Zach, and Xander. Meet over at women's one. Once again, the top 3 finalists, if you could please meet over their women's one.
And we're back now for the podium.
This is such an exciting moment. These climbers have been putting in so much time, effort, and training, especially through the COVID year, or years, to put in all of this time and training and hope to come out ahead.
They put in a lot of blood, too, on these problems.
That is certainly true.
So we have Simon Hibbler in 3rd place. Hopefully he can maintain balance on that.
Second place, Zach Gala. What a great comeback from their early kind of rocky start of this finals to then jumping into that second place position right at the very end.
He knew he needed a top, and he did it.
Taking the gold medal and winning the 2021 USA Climbing North Series. Outstanding climb gym, Xander Waller.
Here is our champion, Xander Waller, who said it was a hard round, but he managed to pull through a win.
It was a good day for Xander. Award being presented there by John Muse of USA Climbing. Some very happy men to have placed and are standing on the podium. A very rocky podium. Don't worry, folks, they're athletes.
And now for the women in 3rd place, taking the bronze medal, Chloe Cosboy.
Now for the women.
Chloe Cosboy claiming that bronze spot. No doubt she's happy about that.
In 2nd place, taking the silver medal, Alex Johnson.
And in 2nd place, Alex Johnson. I know she is so happy with her comeback.
And she managed to make her way onto the podium. You see Chloe looking behind her. She's scoping the routes again. She's probably wondering about some of the choices she made and what she could do differently.
Got a sneak peek there of our champion.
USA Climbing North American Cup Series, Melina Costanza.
Melina Costanza, the winner of bouldering and lead this week.
Makes me wonder how she does in speed, because it would be really cool to see her crown champion in all 3.
That was probably the hardest I've seen her work tonight.
Yeah.
Trying to balance on that.
Turns out the ultimate send is being able to get up onto the number 1 podium spot. Great sportsmanship from the women. They're all happy.
And that's a wrap for this weekend. Thank you for joining us. And you can catch all these replays on YouTube.
Thank you so much. My name is Molly Rennie.
And I am Fabia Dubik. And we are signing out.